Soraya Bastian here, and you are watching Beyond Breath TV, the place to be to overcome your husband's infidelity and create a beautiful marriage. We all know cheating is wrong, and it can be very damaging and painful for the betrayed partner. I know you've probably been told that his decision to be unfaithful is not your fault, but knowing that doesn't seem to take away the one-word question, why? Today's episode will be 3 parts. First, I would like to share with you the reasons why one might choose to be unfaithful. Then, I would like to discuss why asking the question, why, is likely impossible to answer right after infidelity, and how it can be harmful or healing in your recovery process. And finally, I'm going to walk you through 3 steps you may not know about that will take you out of the why and into the clear. To begin, there is no one single answer to why someone might decide to cheat. Cheating can occur as a result of many different factors, and it often takes a combination of things to lead to cheating. Some of those reasons may be a feeling of disconnection from them and their partner, perhaps boredom within their relationship, a desire for an emotional connection that their current partner can't provide, or maybe a feeling of rejection and looking for validation elsewhere. To continue, other reasons could include being emotionally or physically neglected by their partner, or a feeling of being taken for granted and wanting someone else to show them attention. My belief, to sum all of the reasons I just mentioned, is that infidelity is due to their own inner struggles, usually because of unresolved childhood trauma. Before I move on, I would like to pause for just a moment. I just listed a handful of reasons why your husband may have chosen to be unfaithful, and I have a question for you. Did hearing those things make you feel better? Did it take away your worry and confusion? Because of that information, will you never be triggered again? I'm going to guess that you just shook your head no. And if you'll stick with me, I'm going to go on to the second thing I wanted to speak to you about today, which is why answering the question why is likely impossible right after infidelity, and where the question why might take you. Even today, as I'm writing the script, I googled, what should I do if my husband cheats? The very first thing that comes up is, be honest about why it happened. Well, listen to this. According to a study done by doctoral candidates in Northwestern University in Evanston, scientists looked at whether lying can be trained to become more automatic. One of the study authors said, "We were surprised to find that lying is more malleable than previously thought. A strong motivation makes people a better liar." Now, think of the term practice makes perfect. For the duration of your husband's infidelity, he has been practicing the fine motor skills of lying. That sounds harsh, I know, but hear me out. In this same study, they found that as participants repeatedly practiced retrieving a dishonest response from their minds, the original conflicts and barriers to lying were reduced, and people became better at stretching the truth. The research team concluded that it seems to suggest that once you repeat lies often enough, and especially when you have a good reason to do so, such as to maintain a positive self-image or to avoid punishment, you may no longer feel that you are lying. Let's go back to the suggested advice that says, be honest about why it happened. At this point in your marriage, your husband is not capable of telling you, honestly, why he decided to be unfaithful. This might be the reason I hear all the time from women who have done couples counseling with their husbands for years that their husbands were lying the entire time. It becomes second nature. And because the lie and the secrets are repeated so often, he becomes good at deceiving himself. This sounds pretty devastating, doesn't it? If you were listening to this and you have been thinking your husband has been honest, my words have perhaps uprooted all of that. So let me help you calm yourself before you panic any further. Learning to speak truthfully takes practice. Just like learning to speak a lie takes practice. I know that I was just speaking about your husband in this situation, but I know for myself, I wasn't always good at speaking the truth. There were times in my marriage when I stretched the truth to keep face or to steer away from getting in trouble. And I say that with compassion and grace, and it is something I had to build the capacity for within myself, and maybe something you might want to look at as well. If your husband has a desire to truly recover, he can learn to speak the truth, but we'll speak about that more in just a minute. Let me get back on topic. After infidelity, regardless of the information I just shared, there is a huge nagging pull and desire from the betrayed to know the whys of infidelity. If you're like I was, I felt like without knowing why, I couldn't move forward. Like our marriage was on pause until I knew every single detail. This problem is twofold. First, your husband may not have the capacity to tell you the truth right now. And second, you don't have the capacity to hear it. The unending desire to seek the answer to the question why your husband was unfaithful takes you down a rabbit hole when coupled with emotional trauma. Because of the way your brain is operating, all of the information, images, stories, and words your husband gives you does nothing to ease your pain and suffering. And all too often, these questions keep you stuck, not providing a way forward. Are you ready for some good news? I believe that infidelity has become a latter-day epidemic, and that with its rise has come more knowledge and information. I get comment after comment from women on my social media who state that they stayed after their husband's infidelity, did all the therapy, read all the books, and tried everything that was suggested. And 30 years later, they still don't trust him. 30 years later, they still see images of the trauma. And 30 years later, they still haven't been able to enjoy a life of love and connection. The myths that say, leave, you'll never be able to trust him again, and you'll never be able to forget, were probably made true because of the suggestions and advice of experts that didn't fully understand the severe symptoms emotional trauma leaves on your body. With that, I wish to empower you. You do not have to wait for your husband to build his capacity to speak the truth of why he was unfaithful before you can move forward and begin to heal. There are 3 proven steps that you can take that will aid in healing your marriage, even without knowing why. The first step is to clear your emotional trauma. Let me offer it this way. If you step off a curb and almost get hit by a car, the alarm bells go off in your brain that send a message to your nervous system to go on high alert, and then lots of things happen in your body to give you speed, strength, and focus to get yourself out of danger. This system was designed to calm down as soon as the danger was over. After experiencing emotional trauma, the alarm bells don't go off, which causes dysregulation that changes your brain and your physiology that result in symptoms of chronic PTSD. While you maintain a level of heightened dysregulation no matter what your husband says or doesn't say, it won't be good enough. The clearing of your emotional trauma is not coupled with your husband's ability to tell you the truth or by knowing the why of his decision. And in fact, only by clearing your emotional trauma, when your husband does speak the truth, will you be able to hear it and allow it to be healing for you. The second step is to create sustainable skills to rebuild trust. Right now, if your husband were to tell you every single second of the before, during, and after of the affair, you wouldn't trust it. You would have more questions and you would continue to feel the heaviness of his infidelity. Trust is built just like speaking the truth. You have to build the capacity for it, level by level, step by step. Trust isn't going to be reinstated by one conversation or one action. It is something that is done and worked on daily, but can only begin to be rebuilt after you learn how to turn off the alarm system that the emotional trauma has set off. Finally, the third step is to connect. Only after you have cleared your emotional trauma and created the skill set and capacity to trust again, can you begin to connect with your husband with clarity and confidence in the way that you truly desire. The myths that I offered you today have been debunked. Trust can be rebuilt after infidelity. You can experience a clear mind, and the dream marriage you have been working so hard for can absolutely be yours. In today's episode, I offered you a handful of reasons why your husband may have cheated on you, during which we concluded did nothing to remove the triggers and to rebuild trust. I explained to you why knowing the answer to your question, why, is likely impossible and keeps you cycling and unable to move forward, both because of your husband's inability to speak the truth and because of the emotional trauma you have experienced. And I offered you 3 steps that get you out from behind the question why and into the clear so that you can begin to reclaim your marriage. You do not have to wait for the whys. Now, I would like to hear from you. Please tell me in the comments below, have you sought the whys of your husband's infidelity? And if you answered yes, tell me if the information you were given took all of the pain and suffering away and gave you a clear path to your marriage recovery. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. After you comment, be sure to head over to sorayabastian.com and subscribe to become a Beyond Breath Insider. You'll gain instant access to an awesome training where I share the secrets to creating a marriage full of passion, intimacy, and excitement after your husband's infidelity, as well as some exclusive content, some special giveaways, and personal updates from me that I don't share anywhere else. Thank you for joining me today. I love you. Bye-bye.